Greetings and a very warm welcome to all listeners and attendees to the fourth episode of our exciting and interesting series, which is about the global language of passive fire protection. For those of you who may be seeing the interface for the first time, I would like to share that we have an exciting and an interesting interpreter feature in this episode. And this is a button that you can click next to the leave button. And when you use the interpreter app, it opens as a window, and you can click the headphones and choose the language you want to listen in as well. You also have the chat and the question answer button. So please feel free to use them to communicate with us as well as other panelists who are online today. I am quite excited to come to the fourth episode of our series, which started on 11th of December. And we have been growing the family of professionals around the world who align and understand the DIIM approach as a global language of passive fire protection. I am very excited to have a very, very powerful set of panelists from different countries who will be talking about the power of inspection. With us from Brazil, we have Engineer Deborah, who has an experience of over 35 years and has an extensive amount of work that she has done in Brazil and South America to bring forward fire safety in this part of the world. I also have with us Ahmad Al-Maghrabi, who is a PE in North America with over 38 years of experience and currently as an assistant building code official for the Arlington County in the state of Virginia. He has an experience of over 60,000 annual inspections and has been championing the DIIM framework. I now pass to my good friend, Jonathan, to introduce the next speakers. Alejandro.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Muchas gracias, David. Muy buenos días a todos y muchas gracias por acompañarnos el día de hoy. Y bueno, presentar por aquí también a nuestro colega Alejandro Flores Mayas, que bueno, él es consultor de seguridad contra incendios y seguridad humana radicado en Ciudad de México y con más de 20 años de experiencia en el cumplimiento normativo, en desarrollos a gran escala. También es especialista certificado en protección contra incendios en CFIS por la NFPA desde el 2002. Y bueno, también recalcar que participó como asesor independiente en la actualización del reglamento de construcciones universitarias. Entonces, muchísimas gracias, Alejandro, por acompañarnos en el día de hoy. If you go to the next one. Y bueno, también presentarles por aquí al ingeniero Orlando Leiva. que es también miembro de FCIA en Costa Rica. Es especialista también
Jonathan, you're on mute.
y es por parte de la NFP.
Jonathan, you have
Que
gone
como
on mute.
autoridad, funge como autoridad competente también en el Cuerpo de Bomberos de Costa Rica. Es docente universitario, experto en seguridad industrial y protección contra incendios. Entonces, muchísimas gracias a Rolando por acompañarnos el día de hoy. Bien.
So I'm quite excited to share that just to reconfirm and reaffirm to all the audience, this is an exciting event that has been brought together both by the International Firestop Council as well as the Fire Stopping Contractors International Association. And the aim of this 5-part series is to bring together professionals across the life cycle of fire stopping and compartmentation. And throughout the episodes where we had a number of professionals who were designers, a number of professionals who have been installers, and today we have a number of professionals who have an experience of conducting inspections around various parts of the world. So today, before I pass on the mic to the first panelist who will be talking about inspection, I just want to reaffirm that the Firestop Contractors International Association have been pushing forward the global framework of DIIM, where we make sure that the various stakeholders provide correct design, accredited third-party assured installers, and accredited third-party assured inspection, and make sure that the fire stopping and compartmentation is maintained throughout the life cycle of a building. As we jump into talking about inspections, I am going to pass the baton and have our powerful speakers speak. I'm going to start with Deborah. I hope, Deborah, I'm going to make you a panelist, and I hope you will be able to share your screen. And as you do so, I pass the mic to you as an expert from Brazil. And best of luck. Over to you.
Buenos días a todos. Es un placer estar aquí con ustedes. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre protección pasiva contra incendio. Un tema fundamental que muchas veces no recibe la atención que realmente merece. Mi nombre es Deborah Rona, soy ingeniera civil y ingeniera de incendio y instructora del IFP. En esta presentación vamos a entender cómo verificar la conformidad de los sistemas de protección pasiva, basándonos en las normas de la NFPA y estándares internacionales. El objetivo aquí no es solo conocer el concepto, sino entender cómo aplicar esto en la práctica. Para quien no me conoce, yo soy instructora de la NFPA en la América Latina, miembro de la NFPA y fundadora de la red de especialistas en Brasil. Trabajo con las normas de NFPA, NBR y FM Global. Y mi enfoque principal es llevar conocimiento técnico aplicado al mercado, y mi experiencia incluye formación, proyectos y evaluación técnica en distintos países. Ahora vamos a lo más importante, el concepto. La protección pasiva contra incendio es la primera línea de defensa. Funciona sin activación, es decir, no depende de ningún sistema mecánico o eléctrico. Su función principal es contener el fuego y el humo, garantizando la compartimentación y proteger las fuentes de evacuación. Pero hay un punto clave aquí. El desempeño del sistema depende directamente de una correcta instalación y una inspección adecuada. Y todos esos sistemas deben estar basados en ensayos como los realizados por UEL o ASTM. Esta casa, então, é o principal de todos para que possamos ter uma segurança dentro da edificação. Aqui podemos ver alguns exemplos reais. Lo que quiero que observen es que no se trata solamente de instalar materiales, sino de cómo estos materiales están aplicados. Cada penetración, cada paso de tubería o cable debe mantener la integridad de los sistemas. Esto es lo principal. Aquí introduzo el concepto de DIIM, que representa el ciclo completo de los sistemas. Diseño adecuado, las instalaciones correctas, inspecciones, mantenimientos, pero hay algo muy importante. La inspección es el único paso que realmente valida el desempeño del sistema. Si no inspeccionamos, no sabemos si el sistema está funcionando. Esto es muy importante para todo lo desempeño. Entonces, o que es una inspección? Es análisis de todo lo sistema instalado, es identificar no conformidades, es verificar, perdón, si lo que está en obra corresponde a lo que fue ensayado. Esto es clave. La inspección siempre debe basarse en sistemas probados, no en soluciones improvisadas. Entonces, este es lo principal concepto de las inspecciones. Aquí tenemos un checklist básico de inspección de firestop. Debemos verificar, por ejemplo, si los celadores están correctamente identificados y aplicados, si las dimensiones de los espacios son correctas, si los elementos penetrantes están aprobados, si tiene las etiquetas y las marcas están intactas. Esto parece simple, pero en la práctica es donde ocurre la mayoría de los errores. Normalmente no tenemos esto. Ahora vamos a hablar de la realidad en Brasil. Y también creo que en muchos países de la América Latina. Todavía vemos un gran brecha entre lo que exige la norma y que lo realmente se hace la ejecución en la obra. Muchas veces no hay inspección o se utilizan soluciones no certificadas. Y eso compromete completamente la seguridad de los sistemas. Para que sepan, en Brasil, hasta 2022 teníamos una normativa que no eres de la parte de los ensayos, que no eres la adecuada. Solamente después de la nueva normativa, que es la ABNT 16944, que fuera hecha la publicación a partir de 2022. Solamente después de esto es que tenemos ahora una regulamentación que sea cierta para la aplicación. Pero en lo mercado brasileño tenemos hasta hoy todos los productos que están haciendo la comercialización, las ventas, con base totalmente sobre la norma anterior y no la nueva norma. Entonces, ¿cómo inspeccionar correctamente? Debemos seguir un método estructurado, utilizando checklists, documentación técnica y comparando siempre con los sistemas ensayados. Perdón. No se trata de una opinión, se trata de la conformidad técnica. Ahora, de la nueva normativa, tenemos dentro de los anexos un checklist de todos los puntos que son los principales que tenemos que estar haciendo toda la verificación durante las inspecciones. Juntamente con eso, tenemos que tener la emisión de los documentos que eres de los registro personal, profesional de los ingenieros acá en Brasil, que eres conocida como ART, que es la documentación que tienes como todos los profesionales tienen que tener como hacer la emisión de él para hacer la comprobación de tu capacidad. ¿Qué pasa cuando no inspeccionamos? Las consecuencias son muy graves. Vamos a tener una propagación rápida de los fuegos, generación del humo tóxico, riesgo para la vida y pérdidas de materiales. La protección pasiva falla y el principio deja de ser seguro. Entonces, lamentavelmente, en la América Latina, inclusive en Brasil, tenemos muchas instalaciones que no se tiene la seguridad porque toda la parte de firestop tenemos muchas fallas. Está muy malo las ejecuciones. Bien, el tiempo es muy corto. Entonces, para finalizar, quiero dejar un mensaje claro. La protección pasiva no es visible, pero es crítica. Y la inspección no es opcional. Es lo que garantiza que los sistemas funcionen. Muchísimas gracias por tu atención y estoy a disposición para cualquier consulta. Gracias.
A big thank you, Deborah, for bringing this forward in a very interesting manner. I am trying to be slow because I know that some of us will be having
Gracias por
interpretation
invited.
on. And one of the reasons why we are doing this joint interaction is to make sure that professionals in Brazil, professionals in Costa Rica, in Mexico, in various countries who are joining us, they learn from each other. And specifically, I am looking forward to the session by Ahmad, who will be talking to us about how in some places this can be done even without a regulation by the government, but more by professionals who feel this is important and they need the installation to be done correctly and the inspection to be done by someone who is qualified to do this inspection. I would now invite Alejandro to join us. He has been extensively involved in sharing and learning and bringing about a lot of progress. And all the panelists can maybe switch off the camera, and we will all reconvene after all the speakers have spoken and have a general discussion before we take some of the questions. Alejandro, over to you. Please feel free to share the screen, and in case we can support you in any way, we would be happy to support. I have already made you as a presenter. You would need to unmute and then go ahead and share.
Can you see my screen? Can you hear me?
Listo, listo. Sí te escuchamos y te vemos.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Before I begin, let me ask you a fundamental question. When you walk through a complete building and you see sealed penetrations properly labeled, neatly tooled, documented, signed off, do you feel certain or only confident? There's a difference. Confidence comes from appearance. Certainty comes from verification. And in life safety, the difference between confidence and certainty is not philosophical. It is operational. It is measurable. It is structural. In many projects, we see red sealing, perfect finishing, inspection tags, and a closeout binder with approved submittals. It looks compliant. It feels compliant. It appears controlled. But the real question is this. Was it verified against the exact tested assembly that gives that opening its fire-resistant rating? Not something similar. Not something equivalent. Not something assumed. Exact configuration. Because a firestop system is not a product. It's not sealing in a hole. It is a tested assembly. A performance-dependent configuration. A system with parameters. A system with limits. A system whose integrity depends on geometry, annular space, backing depth, material density, substrate thickness, service diameter, service spacing, movement capability, and installation sequence. All defined, all controlled, all tested. If one variable changes, performance may change. If two variables change, performance becomes uncertain. If three variables change, we are no longer discussing compliance. We are discussing an unknown. And life safety cannot depend on unknowns. When a firestop system is tested, it is not tested casually. It is installed in a laboratory under controlled conditions with specified substrates, specified openings, specified spacing, specified backing materials, specified service types, specified service diameters, specifies installation methods. The furnace follows a standardized time temperature curve. Integrity is evaluated. Flame passage is monitored. Temperature rise is measured on the unexposed side. Time is recorded. A rating is earned because every parameter remained within tested limits. Not because it looked correct, not because it felt solid, not because someone believed that it would probably perform, because it was tested under defined conditions. And those conditions are not optional. They are the foundation of the rating. When field conditions exceed those limits, we are no longer relying on test evidence. We are relying on assumption. An assumption is not a fire resistance strategy. Engineering judgments may not be appropriate, but only with disciplined, only with documented, only when traceable, only when grounded in tested logic and material science. A verbal assurance is not an engineering judgment. A product substitution is not equivalency. A field improvisation is not compliance. Verification requires evidence. Evidence requires comparison. Comparison requires measurement. Measurement requires discipline. Without discipline, we have belief. And belief is not protection. Across Latin America, building codes increasingly reference international standards. UL systems, ASTM test methods, recognized fire resistant ratings. On paper, alignment exists. Specifications cite listed systems. Drawings indicate rated assemblies. Submittals include approvals. Language aligns with global benchmarks. But alignment in language does not guarantee alignment in practice. The problem is rarely in design intent. Architects coordinate. Engineers specify. Consultants reference listings. The problem emerges in the field. Field reality includes schedule compression, trade congestion, late routing changes, unplanned penetrations, oversized cores, improvised adjustments, commercial pressure, and every time this should work, replace it, this was verified. Risk increases gradually, quietly, systematically. And quiet, systematic failure is the most dangerous kind because it looks fine until it's not, it is not. Firestop is often treated as a finishing trade, something applied near the end, something cosmetic, something secondary to structural or mechanical systems. But firestop is not cosmetic. It is the continuity of compartmentation. And compartmentation is the backbone of passive fire protection. Compartmentation creates time, time to evacuate, time to relocate, time for defending place strategies and in healthcare facilities, time for responders to operate with predictable smoke spread, time for structural elements to resist exposure. Without compartmentation, fire grows faster. Smoke spreads farther. Condition deteriorates sooner. Active systems are critical. Sprinklers, detection, alarm, smoke control. But passive systems define boundaries. If binary boundaries fail, conditions escalate. In modern buildings, active systems may be excellent, but if penetration are not verified, passive integrity can be compromised quietly. And once compromised, the system behaves differently than designed. That difference might not be visible until the day it matters most. Let us move from theory to field reality, because this is where systems are validated or invalidated. Consider a hospital expansion project. Firestop systems are specified. UL listed assemblies are referenced. Rated walls and floors are clearly identified. Coordination drawings have been reviewed. Submittals have been approved. Everything's appear aligned until construction begins. Routing changes, it always changes. A pipe increases in diameter by half an inch. A new cable tray is introduced late. The spacing between services is reduced to resolve congestion. A sleeve is omitted because delivery was late. Concrete thickness varies slightly from original assumption. A contractor substitutes a similar looking product to maintain the schedule. Sealant is applied. The opening looks sealed. Photographs look acceptable. Progress continues, but the tested assembly no longer applies. The annular space exceeds the listed maximum. Backing depth is inconsistent. Service spacing does not match the listed configuration. The substituted product was never evaluated under those conditions. No deviation review, no documented engineering judgment, no recalculation, no traceable correction. The projects move forward. Years later, the building is occupied. Documentation exists somewhere, but actual fire performance is uncertain. And in real fire event, systems either perform or they fail. There is no partial success in compartmentation. Failure in passive protection is rarely dramatic, it's incremental. One penetration that slightly exceeds annular limits, one backing installation that lacks compression, one cable bundle added later without formal review, one engineering judgment that was never read. Each decision appears minor, but cumulative effect is not minor. It is systemic. A building is not compromised by one deviation. It is compromised by hundreds of small unverified deviation over time. And without the structured inspection, no one sees that pattern. That is why verification must be institutional, not occasional, structured, not reactive, measured, not a sum. Inspection cannot end at certificate of occupancy because buildings are not remain static. Tenants renovate, IT infrastructure expands, medical equipment changes, kitchen exhaust systems are modified, maintenance teams open penetration to room new services. Temporary fixes becomes permanent conditions. Without life cycle controls, the original performance intent slowly erodes, not visibly, not dramatically, but persistently. A rated wall remains rated only if its penetration remains compliant. Without traceability, facility managers cannot know which system was installed. Without documentation, they cannot restore what was altered. Life cycle integrity requires inspection culture. Inspection culture requires governance. Governance requires defined responsibility, clear authority, accessible documentation, continuity across years. Without those elements, compliance becomes temporary. And temporary compliance is not resilience. Engineering judgments exist for a reason. They provide flexibility when exact listed systems do not match field conditions. But discipline defines legitimacy. A defensively engineering judgment is written, signed by qualified personnel, references specific test reports, explains deviation logic, maintains fire performance principles, respects the limits of tested assemblies, is stored with permanent documentation also. What is not legitimate? A verbal approval, an informal conversation, an email without technical analysis, a brochure claiming equivalent performance. Engineering discipline protects professional credibility. Undisciplined flexibility creates exposure. And in litigation, documentation speaks. Memory does not. When inspection fails, risk does not disappear. It transfers to owners in that liability, to insurers who must price uncertainty, to operators who assume performance integrity, to emergency responders who expect compartmentation to limit fire spread, and ultimately to occupants who believe rate and separations protect them. After fire events, questions arise. Was the assembly tested? What is installed per listing? Were deviations documented? Who verified compliance? Where are the inspection records? Can traceability be demonstrated? If answers are unclear, technical uncertainty becomes legal uncertainty. Inspection is not paperwork, it's liability control. It is professional protection. It is institutional risk management. Insurance market evaluate risk maturity. Underwriters assess construction type, sprinkler protection, detection systems, compartmentation strategy, fire resistance ratings, but increasingly they evaluate, sorry?
Alejandro, we'll have to quickly close because we have the next panelist as well.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, let me end. Well, the codes will continue to evolve. The standards will continue to improve. Life safety depends not only on what we design, but on what we verify. Verification is where professional responsibility becomes real. Verification is where institutional credibility becomes visible. Verification is where trust is earned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. This has been very insightful from what is happening in Brazil to what is now as a view from Mexico, from Alejandro, who has been extensively involved in this country, understanding where they are and where the professionals and the industry in Mexico are progressing and intend to progress. I would now invite Rolando from Costa Rica to join us and come on board. It's quite, we are quite lucky to have Rolando come in and share some of the progress that has been involved in Costa Rica. Over to you, Rolando. After you, we will be inviting Ahmad, who will also be sharing how some of the structured approaches function.
Hola, buenos días. Nada más me confirman si se me escucha bien. Creo que sí. Mi nombre es Rolando Leiva, trabajo para el Cuerpo de Bomberos de Costa Rica desde hace 15 años. Lo que me dedico es a la unidad de ingeniería, que es la parte preventiva y de inspecciones de campo. Tal vez para dar un poco de contexto, Costa Rica adoptó las normas NFPA desde el año 2005. En realidad ya serían 21 años que tendríamos de haber adoptado el paquete normativo como normas de referencia. Sin embargo, adoptar las normas NFPA evidentemente no ha sido algo fácil y tampoco es algo que, si las normas se adoptaron hoy, mañana el país estaba en cumplimiento de las normativas. De hecho, el día de hoy pues hay muchísimos incumplimientos y muchos retos que nos toca asumir. Para el tema de hoy, que es protección pasiva, creo, a nivel personal, le he considerado que ha habido un muy importante avance al nivel de la construcción, principalmente en edificios nuevos, donde vemos este tipo de sistemas y los vemos, pues algunos bien instalados, otros con muchas oportunidades de mejora. Tal vez yendo en el orden y también en la experiencia que yo he tenido, lo primero fue a nivel de los diseños, ¿verdad? Que los planos empezaran a pedir este tipo de sistemas fue la primera parte del desafío. Los diseñadores pues realmente no sabían qué hacer, no sabían cómo lograrlo. Donde creo que hubo un poco, y todavía tenemos un poco de dificultad, es que hemos encontrado buenos instaladores, hay buenos productos en el mercado que se encuentran. Sin embargo, y principalmente los arquitectos no tienen todavía claro al día de hoy, hay una gran brecha en que ellos comprendan exactamente dónde es que se debe especificar los sellos cortafuego y qué tipo de sellos también cortafuego especificar. Porque tal vez encontró que a nivel de planos se hacía muy fácil poner notas genéricas. ¿Qué es una nota genérica? Pues poner una pequeña nota que dice las paredes tienen resistencia al fuego, los ductos están comparados con sellos cortafuego. Ok, pero ¿qué es lo que nos topamos? Que normalmente los profesionales no tienen claro, por ejemplo, el uso de NFPA 101. Entonces, entender de todas las paredes del edificio cuáles realmente son las que necesitan resistencia al fuego, si necesitan media hora, 1 hora, 2 horas, no hay mucha claridad. Entonces nos lleva a problemas como sobrecostos, ¿verdad? Cuando vas a un proyecto y tienen todas las paredes ellos cortafuego, pero tal vez no la pared en sí no era cortafuego. Entonces aquí es donde nosotros sí hacemos mucho el llamado de atención porque tal vez adoptar la norma podría parecer fácil a nivel de las autoridades, pero si no hay una buena preparación del gremio profesional, lo que puede llevar es a sobrecostos. Y los sobrecostos generan una imagen negativa de las normas. Ya pasándonos a la parte de la inspección, pues tenemos experiencias buenas y malas. De las buenas experiencias es que sí vemos que los proyectos nuevos, los edificios, los contratistas ya lo saben y ellos hacen pues los esfuerzos por colocar ese tipo de sellos cortafuego. La parte tal vez un poco negativa es lo que mencioné, sobrecostos, paredes que no tienen resistencia al fuego, el plano no le especifica, no lo necesita, pero el contratista le pone sello cortafuego porque cree que, pues, que todo lo necesita. Y la otra parte, y los mismos desarrolladores de edificios nos manifiestan, ¿verdad?, su frustración es que se especifica el sello cortafuego, se hace la instalación de los sellos, pero cuando se hacen las inspecciones, creo que me atrevo a decir que el 100% de las inspecciones que hacemos siempre encontramos deficiencias en sellos cortafuego, siempre faltan. Uno de los problemas más comunes es que se paga a un contratista de sellos cortafuego, él instala los sellos y una semana después viene otro contratista de electromecánico, de otro servicio, de agua, de aire acondicionado, internet, y perfora las paredes para pasar nuevos servicios de electromecánicos. Entonces hay que volver a empezar el trabajo de volver a revisar las paredes y volver a sellar. Personalmente estuve en casos de inspecciones donde le decíamos a un propietario de un edificio, le decía, pero vea estas perforaciones. Y él, la cara de frustración nos decía, pero es que la semana pasada hicimos la inspección y todo estaba bien. Y en una semana llegó alguien y perforó la pared o rompió los sellos que ya estaban hechos para volver a pasar servicios electromecánicos. Entonces esto pues realmente es un desafío. El último tema que me gustaría mencionar es el tema del mantenimiento. Aunque la protección pasiva, digamos que es un elemento fundamental de la protección contra incendios y una de sus principales ventajas, como pues, lo explicó Débora en una de charlas atrás, no requiere pues, energía, no requiere sistemas para que funcione. La protección pasiva solo por estar ahí ya ella va a funcionar en caso de un incendio. Requiere muy poco mantenimiento, pero no es de mantenimiento nulo, sí se requiere, de hecho sí se revisa en FPA, principalmente en FPA 101, pues sí habla, ¿verdad? En FPA 1 también, que yo debo hacer inspecciones principalmente anuales, o sea, todos los años yo debo tener claro cuál es mi estrategia de protección contra incendios y hacer una revisión, porque un edificio a lo largo de su vida útil, un edificio, aunque se haya construido bien, 10 años después, pues ya han tenido cambios. Ya los dueños, los propietarios, los inquilinos, algún contratista, algún operario, alguna persona pudo haber modificado esos sellos cortafuego. Entonces, una vez al año sí es importante que se esté repasando y se esté revisando que los sellos cortafuego se encuentren en buenas condiciones. Nunca hay que pensar en un edificio como algo estático, sino hay que verlo como algo dinámico que cada año pues, puede estar sufriendo cambios y algo que estaba bien en un momento, unos meses, semanas o años después ya no esté en cumplimiento. Entonces, eso tiene que estarse revisando. Les agradezco también mucho haberme invitado, esa sería la participación que tenía.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, Rolando.
And I would
Go
now
ahead,
call upon Ahmad as well to switch on the camera. This is quite interesting and insightful view that we have been able to arrive at now after Brazil to Mexico to Costa Rica, and now we are all eagerly looking forward to hearing from Ahmad, who has this massive experience of working as a building official as well as a third-party inspector who has been working within the limits of a accreditation program as well. So we are very keen to hear from you, Ahmad, because I feel that after you speak, we will have a number of interesting questions and interactions from the 3 different countries who are at different stages in their progression towards a successful working system. So over to you, Ahmad. We are looking forward.
Hello, everybody. My name is Imad Maghrabi. I have actually a PowerPoint. I'm gonna go through it quickly, but I think I'm gonna provide an introduction what we really do here in the United States. So as again, I said, my name is Imad Maghrabi. I'm a professional engineer, have 38 years of experience. I work in the government, Arlington County. If you guys don't know what it is, it's across from Washington, D.C. We have the Department of Defense.
Imad, if you could just come a little closer to the mic, your voice will be a little louder. That will help us all.
Okay, I'll raise my voice. So Arlington County is close to Washington, D.C., across the river. I'm the assistant building code official. I have a team of an inspector here, around 40 inspectors. So that is my role in the government. So I enforce the code. And I have another role I work with the IAS, the International Accreditation Services, as an assessor. So I have the benefit of both roles, the enforcement, the government, and the accreditation as well. So what I'm gonna, I don't think we have much time to go through the whole entire PowerPoint, but I'm just gonna, there is very important emphasis I wanna do how it's working in the United States, the fire stopping and the inspection portion. So the good thing is the International Building Code, which is adopted by every state, have chapter 17, which is just allocated for a special inspection. So the special inspection agency, or let me repeat, accredited inspection agency can do the inspection for the fireproofing, the all entire requirement for the third part. Why this is important? So in my state, Virginia, we actually, most of the locality do the inspection in-house. So my inspector, we do have the resources, but we don't have the time. So an inspector show up on a job site, you have a long sheet, 15, 20 stop, you have to run from here to there, run there. So you have only 30 minutes to do the inspection. Is that enough? Absolutely not. Between going, they review the design, they review the installation, make sure that they put the tree fiber, put the accurate design, is it approved or not? That's take time. So the special inspection roles come here. Now, when I say special inspection, so someone came to me and say, hey, we are company, we have X, Y, and Z of an inspector. All my inspectors are certified. They all can do the work. Well, for me, what does that mean? Anybody can pass a test. I can get a book and study it, get a certification. Will that make me a qualified inspector? Absolutely not. So we need the inspection agency to be qualified or accredited. That is the role of the accreditation. What does the accreditation do for me as a company? So I work with IAS, as I mentioned before. So the accreditation company go and actually get this company, the special inspection agency, under the microscope. They make sure that their inspector really trained, are they really certified? We go to the job site, make sure that they can actually do the job, they really know what they're doing. Is the company have a management system, quality control system? They don't really have any conflict of interest? Are they licensed? They can go through 3-4 days in a process, make sure that this company is accredited, and then they give them the certification. So when they come to me and the government say, yes, we are accredited and this is our accreditation, that gave me the confidence to let this company do the work. So one of the things in our department here in Arlington County, we're not required to be accredited, but actually we get the accreditation to know what is our weak point, what is our strength. It takes us a year and a half. And then we did a lot of change in house, even though it's not required, but we learn a lot. So fire doesn't really burn different between the United States and Latin America. It is the same. Our job at government locality, we want to make sure that the work is done correctly. The building is safe for occupants and for the firefighter too. It's not just for the people who live there, for the fire marshal or firefighter, they're gonna get inside the building to get these people out. So if I'm gonna put what I just said in 2 sentences before I go too quickly, very fast through my PowerPoint, I know we're out of time. So we are a government, plan comes through us, we approve the plan, make sure that's meeting code. That is the portion of the review. Come out from the review, part of our review to figure out which special inspection agency can do the work, if it's required. Some states going to do it in-house, some other states like New York and Nevada with a third party. When the special inspection agency get assigned, they start to do their inspections, submit report to the county. We make sure that they are accredited. So what we get, we put it in 2 words. Special inspection agency is the inspector, work for us in the county, and get paid by the owner. Accreditation service is no difference. If the hiring manager for the county, he go hire this company, give it certification, and get paid by the owner. So we get the benefit of both without getting involved in the financial part. So I know I talk a lot, so I'm gonna go quickly through my PowerPoint. I see that 3 or 4% before me touch basically in most of the issue we see in fire. stopping the issue we face in a job site, but I'm gonna try to touch one point, which is how government look at it from our perspective. What issue we can see, what issue we can improve. So if you can see my PowerPoint, as I said, the failure usually is all coordination. It's always contractor forget to schedule an inspector, decided to do something different. So it is really, we try to make sure that there is enough coordination between us, special inspection, and I'm not going to go to the code section. This is related to the United States, Chapter 17 and Chapter 7, which is cover all the fireproofing, the listed UL, listed ASTM. This is the fourth step, what we call an inspection as a system. The input, you got the approved plan, verification, an inspector in the field verify what you guys have, and you have access to do the inspection. You have evidence if you missed it. You got your report for the material, and then feedback is most important portion of the whole entire process. And both way, if my inspector do the job, I need to get a feedback. We're human beings, we make mistakes, so that's always help moving forward. So the technical inspection, where it's failed, if you didn't have an access, you decided to close the whole entire building without I forget to call the inspection. Well, I don't really find this material, but I find something close. I'm just gonna order it. I don't think nobody really gonna matter. There is not enough documentation somewhere. There is coordination. You decided to, the mechanical guy, plumbing guy decided to come in the end and cut all over the place, and nobody know about it or didn't really figure out in this too late in the process. The same, we talk about that firestop and peripheral protection. So this is the same issue over and over. I decided to put this, it's really close. There's not really much difference. No, this is a design system. Someone said in his office, I decided the 2-hour fire rate, I have this hole, this pipe. UL saying I only use that. You can't really change the stuff. If you want to, we have no problem, but you have to go through the process. Go back to the plan review, make sure that it's been approved. Just that kind of go to the job site, came whenever you want. And there is also, I'm not gonna go through the details. You use the wrong sealant. The annual space is not per the specification. You different T-fiber, whatever, the cable tray, whenever you use it. So this is always, so consistency from the attorney. This is from us, attorney having jurisdiction. We always try the inspector to have a standard checklist, the agree in what is the photo going to be accepted or not. We always recommend before you install anything, have a meeting with us. Schedule a pre-inspection meeting, get the inspector in the field, tell him what you're going to do. This is going to take you 10 minutes. Going to save you a ton of thousands of dollars and ton of hours before you redo everything. So this is one of the very things that I can't really touch enough. Always talk to the inspector, whenever it's a special inspection agency or special to the county. We're always available to answer questions if you approve resting the site, keep it on site. It's not really a rocket science. Keep the approved plan, the listing, make sure that you have enough, the labeling is clear, all the documentation in the job site. And then this is a milestone for verification. Before pre-install, get the documentation you needed. In the process, in the progress, get your access to the material, the detail. Before you close in, make sure that you get your labeling, your inspection. When you get the final as build or record, document. I'm gonna go very fast because I know we're running out of time. So this is operational feedback. It's very important as again, feedback is very crucial in any process. What is the repeated issue? If you've been doing that over and over the same mistakes, then we have a problem. You might need to do some training to your guys. Again, as I said, short contractor briefing. That's 15 minutes, save you work of weeks. Inspection expectation. Unfortunately, we human beings, some inspectors are very detailed oriented, some are not. But get the inspector on the job site before you do the work and say, what are your expectation? What do you expect from me? He will give you the whole, they will run it down. I need to see A, B, C, D, and E, which is make your job easy and make his job easy as well. So this is the same what I said, the process model, this is what is the 5-step workflow. You need to identify it is the same what I told, install, label, verification, special inspection. I touched on it when I started. It is very crucial. It is very important. Remember, the special inspector can stay in the job site for hour, for two. If you have him for the whole day, he can do that. We cannot do that as government. They have the manpower, the team to do that. My inspector cannot do that. So that is what we have the benefit, more frequency verification. They definitely have to have the certification. They communicate with them. They have more time than us, and they are accredited to do this job. Don't feel like oh yeah, I don't trust someone else to do that. Believe me, we all went there. The fire stopping just been added to the special inspection. I think just 2 code cycles previously. So this is the role. I talk about the role of accreditation, fire stopping and special inspection. I just talk about it. I touch about base about it. So they are ensured that the inspection agency are competent, provide consistency, support building of critical, and build confidence as well. What to emphasize to contractors? We just talk about that. We touch bases about it. All the issue I talked, you need to be sure that you get your submitter, your design, follow the design, don't improvise, and always ask question if you have. So the end, what I said is it's the same what we do it here. They do it in America, whenever any continent. We have to make sure that you follow the code, follow the approved plan, follow the procedure, and install them correct. And that's it. I think I was very fast to the best that I can.
Thank you very, very much, Ahmad. That has been quite insightful, quite interesting. I would like to now, invite all the panelists who have been speaking to switch on their cameras. Do come back. We also are lucky to have some of our past panelists as well from the previous episodes. We have some installers from Costa Rica, from Mexico, and I am not sure if Marcos from Brazil is still around to join us, but I must say this has been a very interesting session as we see how things happen in different parts of the world. And we are very excited as, two international associations, FCIA and IFC, the International Firestop Council, who are working to bring all of us together to a stage where we can ask questions and learn from different stakeholders on how some of these practices which Ahmad shared that could be slowly brought into Mexico, Costa Rica, Brazil, and several other South American countries where we are at a different stage. We understand inspections slightly differently. And we are quite happy that as an international body, as we came together, we have been able to involve and create a system for inspector to become credentialed so that the end user, like a big hotel chain, like a big hospital chain, can command that we need a qualified inspector, even if the regulation may not say so yet. So with that, I pass the mic to Jonathan to have his view of how he may like to take some questions. But in case Vicente, Antonio, or Marcos would like to, have a question, please do raise a hand. And after Jonathan speaks, we can have some questions from you as well.
Thank you, Avi. I'm going to switch to Spanish. So, muchas gracias a todos por las presentaciones bastante interesantes y atinadas, y justamente reflejan las diferentes situaciones que tenemos a lo largo de Latinoamérica, ¿no? Y bueno, por ahí nada más resaltar un par de aspectos, justamente desde el punto de vista de las inspecciones, resaltar esta parte que mencionaba, si no me equivoco, Alejandro, que no tratar a la protección pasiva contra incendios como un producto aislado, ¿no? Sino como un sistema. Entonces esto significa diferentes elementos que trabajan de manera conjunta y es ahí donde también es importante hacer esas inspecciones de todo el sistema como conjunto, ¿no? También, como mencionaba Rolando, también a la hora de hacer este tipo de inspecciones podemos identificar algunas otras brechas o fallas, como pueden ser instalaciones de otro tipo de servicios, ¿no? Lo mencionaba creo que con un ejemplo bastante explícito, que hace un par de semanas estaba por ahí la instalación de sellos y después ya no, porque habían entrado otro tipo de instalaciones, ¿no? Entonces, justamente ese es el valor agregado de las inspecciones, de poder identificar ese tipo de situaciones y al final de cuentas asegurarse, ¿no? que se han hecho las instalaciones de manera correcta. Eso es por una parte desde el punto de vista de la inspección misma, pero también resaltar la importancia de tener personal capacitado y entrenado, especialmente si es bajo un sistema o un esquema acreditado, ¿no? Como puede ser la ISO 17020, y es ahí donde también entra o toma un valor bastante importante de las entidades de acreditación para asegurar la competencia de este tipo de unidades de inspección o organizaciones. Entonces, básicamente con eso quiero cerrar y bueno, también dar la oportunidad por ahí a algunos de los panelistas, participantes, en caso de que tengan alguna pregunta o quieran compartir algo, por ejemplo, de las sesiones pasadas, desde el punto de vista, tal vez veo por aquí a Vicente, muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Tal vez comentar algo, aprovechando que nos acompañas desde el punto de vista o la perspectiva de Chile en cuanto a las inspecciones, si te parece bien. Y muchas gracias.
Gracias, Jonathan. Mucho gusto en saludarlos. Bueno, tomo la pregunta primero y luego hago mi pregunta, que tengo una pregunta que me gustaría hacer a los expositores de esta ocasión. Muy brevemente, la realidad en Chile hoy en día no existe una empresa ni tampoco una cultura de inspección. Es uno de los ciclos del concepto de DIIM que están pendientes. La verdad es que existen procedimientos que hoy en día se intentan aterrizar desde la FCIA para procurar repetir las buenas prácticas. Sin embargo, hay bastante trabajo por hacer. Y en línea con esta respuesta, hago mi pregunta, que iba más o menos en sintonía con lo que me consultas, Jonathan. Mi consulta es la siguiente, abierta a quien sienta mejor que la pueda responder de una mejor manera. Es que entendiendo que la inspección debe ser un proceso cuidadoso, transparente y con una finalidad única, que es asegurar la correcta instalación de los sistemas de sellos cortafuegos, ¿existe alguna recomendación sobre el perfil de las empresas que deban llevar a cabo estas inspecciones? Ya que la realidad de cada país es muy diferente y en muchos casos no existen agencias de inspección con las capacidades para llevar a cabo una correcta inspección bajo ASTM 2174 y o ASTM E2393, mientras que sí están esas aptitudes dentro de empresas que son instaladores cortafuegos, pero uno se encuentra con este dilema de la imparcialidad. Entonces, hago la pregunta, al ser la realidad nuestra un mercado en desarrollo, me gustaría saber la realidad quizás de algunos otros países que ya hayan pasado por esta situación media transitoria.
Jonathan, can I answer that? And maybe if required, you can further, elucidate the same in Spanish later. And I would also kind of rope in some thoughts from Imad, who has, seen over the years how things have changed in many countries. So Vicente, a very clear and simple answer is something that we are all collectively working on for the first time. This series that we have put together, it has already brought in 5 professionals who are focusing on design, 5 professionals across South America and other parts of the world who have experience of installation. And today we have brought together some great experience regarding inspections to understand where certain countries are. And the next episode, we are hopeful that we will also have some asset owners, property owners, people who actually need to know and understand right from design to install to inspect and maintain. I can say this from my experience as someone leading a global initiative around many countries, that many countries where no regulation existed, and it is a situation that is comparable to Chile, to Mexico, to Costa Rica, in countries like India, Bangladesh, in countries like Singapore or Malaysia or New Zealand. The change has happened from the way different stakeholders have started talking with each other. We have published a manual of practice, which is trying to teach everyone to be at par, that the DIIM needs to be followed. We have a number of professionals like you, Vicente, or Antonio, or several others, who have carried this message of doing correct installation, understanding inspections. And I give this example from one of my friends in another country who was qualified as a designated responsible individual in a country where there was no regulation, there was no inspection. And this contractor, specialist contractor, would go to the hospitals in his city and tell the owner of a hospital that I will give you a free audit. A free audit. I will not charge money. And I will give you a piece of paper that what is wrong as per a published standard. This can only happen when people are qualified and people follow certain standards. And we are really happy to be engaging with people and sharing these standards. And on the basis of this, the international accreditation body, IAS from North America, where Ahmad also works, they have published an open accreditation criteria called the AC291 criteria or accreditation criteria, which defines to someone who is in Chile, someone who is in Mexico, to say, this is how an inspector needs to be checked. So we are very excited to bring about this dialogue. And as some investors, clients, users start becoming aware, the change will happen. Ahmad, if you want to add, you can unmute as well.
Well, I'm gonna say the United States experience, and unfortunately, government usually move and act when it's too late. So the special inspection program in general, it not just cover the fireproofing, it's cover concrete, steel, and everything. It started in the United States in 1984, 88, and the reason is we have a collapse in a adjacent county, Alexandria. The whole entire building collapsed and people died. And then after the report of the investigation, they find that all the concrete and steel, nobody really inspected. So they have a huge committee and start to try to figure out what went wrong. And what is wrong is exactly what some other people in the panel here say, there was no inspection. So that was the start of generation. Okay, let's figure out how can we prevent that. It takes them years and years, and starting from 2000, I think it start I would say in the past last 10 years, most of the other states have started to catch up now. It was the program there, but it wasn't really active everywhere. But now every single state, most of the locality, I understand it's cost costly for an owner to decide to hire someone at a third party and give him extra money. Why should I do that? They only look at the benefit of how can I save money, not how can I spend money. But if the government work with the entity and organization like your organization, like an FBA, and they start to implement the code, I think the ICC been spreading to the Middle East now. People try to kind of copy what's going on in Europe, United States. So it's hopefully people don't act on this only it's too late. We should be proactive, not reactive. But in the United States, it's taking forever to do it. But now they're doing the right thing. It wasn't that easy to do, and we still till today we get pushback, even in a big locality like me. Oh, this is gonna cost me money. I'm developer. Why should I pay more money to do this and that? You should do it. So it's just a matter of time. So that is our experience.
Jonathan, please go ahead. I think you were also giving some view.
Yeah, thank you, Abby. Bueno, sí, en relación con la pregunta que mencionaba Vicente, la situación que mencionaba Vicente, yo solamente quería compartir justamente desde mi experiencia también en México y a través de toda esta trayectoria, ¿no? En participación en comités técnicos internacionales como por ejemplo de la ISO, este esquema, ¿no? El esquema de acreditación de la ISO 17020, por ejemplo, y es justamente donde se abordan este tipo de situaciones de cómo asegurar y cómo establecer los controles en las unidades de inspección para que se conduzcan de una manera imparcial, objetiva, transparente, que no haya estos sesgos a la hora de hacer evaluaciones. Entonces, yo, como comentaba por ahí, soy partidario justamente de este esquema porque creo que es uno de los más robustos a nivel internacional y además esto involucra a un tercero que supervisa, que en este caso serían las entidades de acreditación que acreditan justamente a estas unidades de inspección, ¿no? Entonces, creo que una de las formas de establecer estos controles sería buscar tener unidades de inspección o profesionales, ya sea acreditados. Puede ser a través de este esquema específicamente o a través de algún otro esquema privado o particular. Pero creo que siempre es valioso contar con estos terceros, que como decía es una entidad de acreditación, que se asegure que se establecen los controles por ahí correspondientes. Y bueno, por ahí puede haber otro tipo de situaciones donde las inspecciones recaigan puntualmente en las autoridades, secretarías de estados, ministerios, cuerpo de bomberos, por ejemplo, y también depende de ellos asegurarse, como toda actividad delegada, asegurarse de que se lleven a cabo de manera correcta y siguiendo los controles. Entonces, es básicamente lo que quería agregar. So, hope that makes sense, Abby. So, over to you.
I think that's quite interesting and insightful because this is something which is very important that such a conversation happens. I know Ahmad has also raised his hand, but and I know that after that Antonio also has a question. So Ahmad, if you would like to say something, please go ahead, and then I'll pass to Antonio.
Very quickly. So the work I did with IAS, the International Accreditation, actually is per ISO IEC 17020 and the ACE 291. So this we go through that page by page, step by step. We have a whole like checklist. Make sure that the company is accredited for both the ICE, the 17020 and the ACE 291. That's what I just.
Antonio, please go ahead, unmute. I know you have some question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Abby. Welcome, everybody. My question, I'm going to proceed in Spanish. Para Rolando, desde esta perspectiva de ustedes como ente regulador, ¿cómo ha sido la evolución en los últimos, vamos a decir, 3 años con respecto a los instaladores? ¿Sientes que desde que ustedes han implementado hay más conciencia y más ganas de hacerlo mejor?
Sí, gracias. Totalmente. Falta mucho camino por recorrer, pero siempre hay que reconocer también lo bueno. Varios desarrolladores, principalmente proyectos grandes, ya han optado por contratar inspectores específicos de protección pasiva o incluso contratar la aplicación de sellos cortafuego junto con su inspección a un ente experto. Pues por un tema de transparencia no quiero ni decir ni nombres, ni empresas, ni similar, pero sí hemos visto que los mismos desarrolladores se nos han acercado y nos han dicho, vea, Rolando, en el pasado hemos tenido mucho problema con bomberos, con las inspecciones, porque nosotros creemos que se hizo bien, vienen ustedes y nos dicen, faltan un montón, vuelve a venir se vuelven a poner, vuelven a venir ustedes y bueno, primero faltaban 100, ahora faltan 50, ahora luego faltan 20, pero como que no logramos terminar. Entonces ya nos han dicho que están optando por buscar mejor contratistas que estén certificados y que se dediquen solo a este trabajo y entonces tratar de que por lo menos a la primera ya queden bien. Ha habido bastante conciencia en eso, sin embargo en Costa Rica, al menos al día de hoy, la regulación no los obliga, o sea, están obligados a colocar el sello cortafuego, pero no están obligados a contratar un inspector certificado. Entonces, de momento ha sido como que el mercado ha ido optando por eso y se han visto buenos resultados, pero también pues hay proyectos más pequeños o algún otro tipo de desarrollador que no quiera hacer esa inversión y luego pues vienen los problemas, ¿verdad? Que bomberos hacen inspección y es donde se encuentra o que no hay del todo o que en su gran mayoría están mal instalados o hay 2, 3 sellos cortafuego y ocupaban 10 o 20 más de lo que realmente se había colocado. Entonces, sí está ese problema. De hecho, recuerdo un caso hace poco que el desarrollador compró una cubeta de sellos cortafuego y básicamente le dijo al instalador, eso es lo que compré, instálelo hasta donde alcance. Entonces, pues se fueron poniendo y se acabó y no pudieron más, ¿verdad? Porque ya era lo que estaba presupuestado. Entonces, sí se ha visto que los desarrolladores serios, las empresas constructoras grandes, han decidido conseguir personas y contratistas que realmente sean expertos en este tema para evitar problemas a futuro.
Thank you, Rolando. That was, of course, very insightful. And I would just like to add from a perspective of seeing this in many countries and many cities in the world. And I can share a suggestion that, for example, in some of the cities in UAE, in the Gulf countries, the regulator has sometimes started small by saying that for certain types of occupancies, which are slightly higher risk, the regulator says that maybe for the airport or hospitals, that this is something that should be considered. And just by introducing something, we initiate some progress by encouraging some professionals in the country to learn and become certified, like Jonathan was explaining and Ahmad was also explaining, that this level of knowledge then slowly starts to percolate in the country. But I feel this has been a great discussion, a great conversation, and I would like to give almost like a last call in case Deborah or Alejandro would like to ask a question. Then if not, then we can then move towards closing our session. I know we have gone a little overboard, but if there is anything, Alejandro, you would like to say, maybe if not a question, it could be a closing remark so that we can hear from you.
I think that is fundamental in our countries, in Latin countries, the support of the fire stopping companies to select, to enforce, or to have a way to have more prepared inspectors. It's basic, the support for the serious companies. Is my remark.
Thank you, Alejandro. Deborah, I know you have your hand raised. Please go ahead.
Bem, a gente precisa falar de proteção passiva e está falando aí do comportamento, de cultura e principalmente de responsabilidade técnica. No Brasil, temos um grande caminho a percorrer. E esse avanço não depende apenas de norma, depende também de cada um dos profissionais e proprietários de edificações. Está muito deficiente ainda no Brasil a questão de projetar corretamente, instalar com critérios e também inspecionar com responsabilidade. E tudo acima disso, de não acertar o mais ou menos. A proteção passiva, efetivamente, não aparece, mas ela é que vai garantir que aquelas estruturas fiquem em pé e que as rotas de fuga funcionem e as vidas sejam preservadas. Então, se queremos evoluir, na verdade, no Brasil, precisamos parar de tratar a proteção passiva como um detalhe e começar a tratá-la como sistema essencial de segurança. O conhecimento existe, as normas existem, e precisamos agora de uma decisão. E fica o convite para que todos façam parte dessa mudança. Obrigada.
Thank you, Deborah. I totally understand and relate to this very well. I have seen many places who have migrated from this stage that you define in Brazil to a stage which IMAD is defining as well. And it is a very tough journey. But I can say this for sure, that access to knowledge and access to information always encourages some enterprising business professionals who want to take one step ahead and say that we want to be above the standard in our country by offering something that is above and beyond. So with that as a message, I would definitely like to give an open invitation to all the people in your network, anyone who is listening in from South America specifically. We have a lot of complementary education that we are giving away to designers, just for them to understand how some of these systems can work. So please help us spread this word. And I would like to have, did we lose Rolando? Maybe, I wanted to get him as well. Yes, so before we close, I would like to, have a word from Rolando as well, to hear from Costa Rica. Over to you, Rolando.
Bueno, reiterar el agradecimiento por invitarnos a esta participación. Los aspectos clave para mí, o los aprendizajes clave en esta experiencia han sido que se ocupa para cada país, principalmente en América Latina, primero un marco de referencia legal. En este caso, pues Costa Rica optó por las normas NFPA. Sabemos que también hay otros paquetes normativos que son de muy buena calidad, pero cada país debe generar una adopción de un paquete normativo. La seguridad contra incendios no puede ser voluntaria, no puede ser opcional. Tiene que haber una legislación que diga qué es lo que hay que cumplir. Lo segundo que se ocupa es inspección, ¿verdad? Tener inspección tanto pues, de la autoridad, del gobierno, como inspectores privados, ¿verdad? Para que ese trabajo se haga de la manera correcta. Y el último, que es lo que estamos haciendo justamente aquí, que es importantísimo, el tercer pilar es la capacitación. Se ocupan muchísima capacitación, tanto de los diseñadores, de los instaladores, los constructores y los inspectores, y por supuesto de la autoridad, que estar bien capacitado para saber qué es lo que estamos pidiendo, qué es lo que estamos viendo, si lo que estamos haciendo está bien o tiene alguna deficiencia, y el conocimiento tiene que ser continuo. Siempre están apareciendo nuevas tecnologías, nuevos materiales constructivos, nuevos tipos de paredes que ocupan nuevos tipos de sellos cortafuego. Entonces mantener capacitación constante. Por eso yo pues felicito ahora este tipo de actividades que son esenciales para este objetivo.
Thank you, Rolando. This is quite positive for us. And I did mention that as industry associations, we are giving away a number of resources, an extensive amount of training. And if you are an authority having jurisdiction, we are giving away a few $100s worth training programs, which can last up to 20 to 30 hours, just to understand how some of these programs can function and can be implemented. So a really big thank you to all the panelists who invested their time today, and a big round of applause, if I can say internally, to all of you. And I would pass on to Jonathan to close the session today. We have gone a little overboard, but I think we have had a very insightful conversation. And I would like all of you to stay tuned for the last episode, where we will close and get some of the other stakeholders as well. Jonathan, over to you for the last words today.
Thank you, Avi, for the closing remarks. I'm having some issues as well, so sorry about that. Bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos por unirse también el día de hoy a esta sesión. Agradecerle tanto a los ponentes o panelistas que compartieron sus experiencias el día de hoy, como también los que nos acompañan de las sesiones pasadas. Hacer eco justamente en el comentario de Rolando, también es necesario y nos interesa a nosotros seguir promocionando este tipo de información, seguir formando a los profesionales para que pueda realizarse este tipo de inspecciones en sitio, ¿no? Y a final de cuentas, asegurarse de que todas las instalaciones de estos sistemas de protección pasiva se hayan hecho de manera correcta, funcionen cuando deban de funcionar y funcionen como deben de funcionar, ¿no? Y con esto nos aseguramos también mitigar el riesgo y, por supuesto, salvar tanto vidas como activos. Entonces, básicamente es eso, y recordarles que todavía tenemos un capítulo por ahí sobre el tema de mantenimiento para cerrar justamente el enfoque de diseño, instalación, inspección y mantenimiento. Entonces, invitarlos a que sigan de cerca esta serie de webinars y agradecerles nuevamente por su asistencia el día de hoy. Muchísimas gracias, and over to you, Avi.